Welcome back to another week of BSPN. I'm Matthew Hansen, joined with Eli Heacock and Josh Rasmussen. It was a chaotic week in sports, so let's get right into it.
The wrestling team had a busy week with 4 separate events. The team started out going to Miles City on Tuesday for a duel. AJ Schoenbeck, wrestling in the 103-pound bracket, lost his only match to Ethan Reynolds from Huntley. Raiden Stoddard, our 113-pound 8th grader, had 2 matches and lost both to pin to Will Merkel from Miles City and Blake Greenmaker from Huntley. Kail Irish in the 138-pound division lost his only match by default to Eli Broadbrooks of Huntley. Hunter Stan wrestled in the 152-pound division and lost both of his matches by pin to Michael Colvin and Chase Howell of Huntley. Raiden Schaffer, also in the 152-pound division, lost his match by default to Grady Schmidt of Huntley. Colin Weatherall, our 160-pound freshman, lost his only match to a pin by Hayden Remaker of Huntley. Jaxon Knapp lost 1 match by pin to Ryan Paxton of Miles City, 1 match by tech fall to Easton DeJong of Miles City, and 1 match by default to Cameron Hazer of Miles City. Cordell Schoenbeck lost 2 of his matches by pin to Easton DeJong of Miles City and Spencer Higuerita of Huntley, but won his match by pin against Lane Pesarosi. The girls wrestling team traveled to Miles City on Tuesday as well. Macy McDowell wrestled the 120-pound weight class, going 0-3 in the evening. She lost to Grayley and Mace Fox as well as Ali Denardi. Aspen Alderman wrestled in the 138-pound weight class, going 2-0. She beat Kail Lindvold and Reagan Buffington, winning both by pin. Nobly Blanken wrestled in the 152-pound weight class, going 0-2 for the day. She lost to Kaylee Orcutt and Gretchen Donnelly. Aspen Krantz wrestled in the 185 weight, also going 0-2 on the day. She lost to Madeline Juke and Abby Daiba.
The team had a second duel against Miles City on Thursday, but this time at home in front of a large crowd. The young AAU wrestlers were on the second mat, bringing a ton of energy into the gym. In addition, we celebrated senior night for Reagan Schaefer, Aspen Krantz, and remembered Kail Emmons as well. Now for the results. AJ Schoenbeck won his match by default against Braden Hager. Braden Stoddard lost his match to a pin by Aiden Smith. Kail Irish won his match against Maddox Malloy by tech fall. Braden Arndt won his match with Brady Hoverson by default. Hunter Stanton lost his match to Johnny Paxton to tech fall. Reagan Schaefer won his match against Johnny Paxton by default. Colin Weatherall won his match by pin against Coben Melkor. Jaxon Knapp lost his match to pin by Deegan Vett. Cordell won his match by pin against Lane Pesarosi.
The girls wrestling team traveled to Miles City on Tuesday as well. Macy McDowell wrestled the 120-pound weight class, going 0-3 in the evening. She lost to Grayley and Mace Fox as well as Ali Denardi. Aspen Alderman wrestled in the 138-pound weight class, going 2-0. She beat Kail Lindvold and Reagan Buffington, winning both by pin. Nobly Blanken wrestled in the 152-pound weight class, going 0-2 for the day. She lost to Kaylee Orcutt and Gretchen Donnelly. Aspen Krantz wrestled in the 185 weight, also going 0-2 on the day. She lost to Madeline Juke and Abby Daiba.
The Hawks traveled to Ekalaka, Montana last Friday to take on the Bulldogs. With Maggie Mater on the bench with a knee injury, the Lady Hawks entered the game with 8 players, 3 of which only had 3 quarters to give after playing the JV game. The Lady Hawks started the game off strong with Maddie Zimmer knocking down a shot right off the tip. In the first half of the Lady Hawks made most of their points in the paint, drawing several and ones. The Ekalaka Bulldogs proved to be aggressive on offense and defense and played with the Lady Hawks all throughout the first 2 quarters of the game, with the Lady Hawks leading by 5 going into halftime. The third quarter turned out to look a lot like the first 2, with the Lady Bulldogs playing with the Lady Hawks. But the Lady Hawks pulled away during the fourth quarter, winning the game by 14 points. The final score of the game was 62-48. Mia Mater led the Lady Hawks in scoring with 15 points, Emma Isaacs and Susan Schaefer each adding 14, and Maddie Zimmer adding 13.
On Friday night, the boys tipped off against the Ekalaka Bulldogs and were able to score right off the tip as Cooper Zimmer took it to the rim for 2. This game would be a back-and-forth contest with neither team being able to go on much of a run, but there was no shortage of scoring with plays like these as Jackson drove to the hoop for a nice lay. Later in the first, Rasmussen would bank in a floater from the baseline with the assist coming from Eli. Then, Eli would steal the ball and take it all the way for 2. Early in the second, Eli would continue his great game, coming off a dribble handoff and knocking down what would be the lone three for the Hawks in this game. Then Thomas Euler would drive in, sucking in the D, which left an open Hansen cutting to the basket for an and one. Going into half, it was all tied up at 28. Bilber would put up a shot, missing, but would fight for his rebound and put up another shot, this one falling. Then Cap would muscle in for a contested make. After a close third quarter, the Hawks would take their largest lead of the game midway through the fourth, when Matt passed it ahead to Eli and he made the layup. Then Zim would drive in, putting the Hawks up 6. Ekalak would come back and bring it to within 1, but Cooper would put it away at the line with the Bulldogs. But the Bulldogs would turn it over before getting the last shot, with the final being 62-60. The Hawks had a balanced night of scoring, having 4 players in double digits, that being Eli with 12, Cooper with 11, Jackson with 14, and Landon with 15. On Friday, Broadus had a home duel against the Sydney Eagles. Starting off the night, A.J. Schoenbeck wrestled Eli Lonsky in the 103 weight class, losing by fall. Kail Irish wrestled in the weight class 138, won by fall against Caden Bouget. Raiden Arndal, also wrestling in the 138-pound weight class, wrestled Cody Crooks, winning by default. At the weight class of 152, Hunter Stanton wrestled Traden McKay, losing by fall in the second period. Regan Schaefer also wrestled in the 152-pound weight class, wrestling Jason Soderberg, winning by tech fall. In the 160 weight class, Colin Weatherall went up against Brandon Peterson and took a tough loss in the first period. Jackson Knapp would be wrestling at the 182-pound weight class. He also wrestled Brandon Peterson, and he also took a loss, but fought until the second period. Ruben Kinzer wrestled Cooper Fulgham at the 205 weight class, took an easy win in the first period. Ending the night, Broadus' heavyweight Cordell Schoenbach wrestled Stetson Armies and took a tough loss in the beginning of the second period. The duel was a close matchup, with the Hawks falling short in this match, but giving the fans a competitive evening.
Basketball versus Jordan girls. Right from the tip, the Broadus Lady Hawks took an early lead with a nice drive to the hoop by Mia Mader. Zeason would score a couple minutes in, giving the Lady Hawks a 4-0 lead. It would take the Mustangs 3.5 minutes before they could score a pair of free throws by Maya McWilliams to cut the Hawk lead in half. The next time down the court, they would score again, tying it up. The first quarter ended with the Hawks clinging to a 9-8 lead. Jordan would start the second quarter out strong, but Maddie Zimmer would hit a 3 and Cassie Hagedorn and Emma Isaacs would both make nice scores in the paint to go along with another shot by Zimmer to keep it close. The Lady Hawks would be down by 19-18 at the half. The teams would remain neck and neck in the third, but Mia Mader would give a nice assist to Isaacs for a mid-range jumper on the baseline. A minute later, Mader would give another nice pass, this time to Zeason on the block for a score. The Lady Hawks would go on a bit of a scoring drought, but Mader would hit a nice layup ending the third quarter 30-27. Down by 3, the Lady Hawks had their work cut out for them. They went 6 and 10 in field goals on the quarter, including some nice buckets by Zeason and Mia and a 3-pointer by Maddie. Zeason even had a beautiful steal with a fast break. But this wouldn't be enough to overcome a flurry of Jordan scoring as well. They ended the game in a 44-42 loss. Zeason led the team in points with 13 and chipped in 8 rebounds. Mia had 12 points and 8 rebounds, 5 of which were offensive to go with 3 assists. Maddie had 8 points and Emma had 7 to round the Hawk offense attack.
Broadus boys hosted the Jordan Mustangs for a good game. The Mustangs came into the game at 5-0 in the conference, and the Hawks were 4-0. The Hawks started the game out with a nice inside bucket from Landon Cap for 2. The Mustangs are up 4-3. Then later in the first, Landon Cap scores again with a nice drive to the basket. The score is now 12-5. The Hawks are down early. Thomas Euler had a nice cut to the basket and finished it for 2 points. Cooper Zimmer got a steal and a fast break layup. Jackson Bilber had a nice fadeaway jumper for 2. The Hawks are down 19-18, going on a nice run. Jackson once again scored underneath the basket. Then Josh Rasmussen hit a 3 to put the Hawks up 23-21. Jackson threw a John Elway pass and transitioned to Josh and put it in for 2. Jackson later drove in and finished with a tough layup. The ballgame was all tied up going into half at 27 apiece. To get things started, Landon Cap finishes through contact for 2 points. Thomas Euler really got the crowd going with an and one. Eli Heacock in transition for 2 points. The score is now 36-35. The Hawks are up. Cooper Zimmer drove into the paint and laid it up for 2. The Hawks would end up losing 64-56 due to poor defensive intensity. The Mustangs hold the 4-seed district title as of right now. The Hawks go to Jordan this Saturday for a rematch, hoping for a different outcome. It's good.
The girls wrestling team traveled to Hardin on Saturday after a break on Friday night. Mason McDowell wrestled in the 120 weight class, going 1-3, starting out wrestling Haven Meyer from Skyview, taking her first loss, then wrestling Graylee Fox and Ashlyn Sasidu, taking 2 more losses, and wrestling Ava Abrahams, taking a win. Bonita Kinzer wrestled in the 138 weight bracket, going 2-1. She wrestled Regan Buffington, taking a win, and then wrestling Kennedy Krebs, taking a loss, then wrestling Chelsea Morrison and taking a win. Aspen Alderman also wrestled in the 138 weight bracket, going 1-1 for the weekend. Starting out wrestling Emerson Eckhart from Billings Senior, taking a loss, and then wrestling Taylor Moss from Billings Skyview in a win. Novalee Blakeman wrestled in the 152-pound weight class, going 0-2 on the weekend, wrestling Lydia DeHooge and Dylan Faker Fox. Aspen Krantz wrestled in the 185 weight bracket, going 1-3, starting out wrestling Madeline Julke from Miles City, taking a loss, then wrestling Mariah from Skyview, taking a win, and then wrestling Kendall Tucker from Billings Senior and Ariana Ellison from Miles City, taking 2 more losses. On the boys' side of things, they traveled to Hardin on Saturday as well. AJ Schoenbach wrestled in the 103-pound weight class, going 2-0, wrestling Travis Hoke and winning by pin, then wrestling Brett Peterson and taking another win by pin. Braden Stodard wrestled at 113, going 0-3. He wrestled Aiden Smith from Miles City, first taking a loss when he wrestled Rowan Ludgreen from Lockwood and then Landon Peel. Raiden Arn wrestled in the 138 weight class, going 3-0, starting out wrestling Reese Brewer from Billings West, then wrestling Nooses Passes, and then Strain Litton from Red Lodge. Kail Irish also wrestled in the 138 weight bracket and went 3-0, wrestling Jaden Redemaker from Billings Skyview, Chairman Southers from Custer Hysham, and Sawyer Pallett from Laurel. Reagan Schaefer wrestled in the 152 weight class, going 3-0, wrestling champion Marquise from Colstrip. Then Joel Duran from Billings West and Dominic Sosa from Billings Senior. Hunter Stanton also wrestled in the 152 weight bracket, going 0-3, wrestling Isaiah Morse from Billings West, Eli Hill from Laurel, and Matthias Olson from Billings Senior. Colin Weatherall wrestled in the 160 weight class, going 2-1, wrestling Travis Caton from Laurel, Lane Humphrey from Billings West, and Briley Teschner from Lockwood. Jackson Knapp wrestled in the 182 weight bracket, going 1-2, wrestling Charlie Hayer from Billings West, Caleb Bentel from Billings Senior, and then Robert Koyama from Hardin. Ruben Kinzer wrestled at the 205, going 1-1, wrestling Easton DeJong from Miles City, then wrestling Landon Mary from Lockwood. Cordell Schoenbach wrestled at heavyweight, going 0-2, wrestling Cody Kills on top from Hardin, then wrestling Evan Rosenthal to end the weekend. This weekend, the wrestling boys and girls travel to Wolf Point for their divisional wrestling match. And the boys have 3 games this week: Tuesday against Ekalaka, Friday at home against Webo, and then Saturday at Jordan, hoping for revenge. This is BSPN signing out.